Happy April, everybody. All right, this is going to be an exciting month. So this is the first waivers report for April. So thank you, by the way, to everybody who joined the Ascension Conference. We covered a lot of materials. So we talked a lot about just where we're at in the ascension process right now and what April's bringing for us, because this is the month of destiny kind of resets. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, especially with the eclipse coming up on April 8th, because that is a really big milestone. But overall, April is a destiny reset month. It is the month where we are all going to collectively and individually be pushed to the next level. So I just want to cover just some of the energies, a little bit of the astrology, and some of the events coming up. So we are really stepping into the unknown this month. And this has been building for a while. So, as we've kind of really gotten our sea legs in 2024, part of what's been happening is the old is crumbling, right? And we can see that. And so we've been in this void space where the old world is very much on its way out, but the new hasn't quite been brought in yet. So it's been very much that like voidy type of space, right? April is the pivot. It is the pivot where we start to actually enter the co-creation of the new, which will allow the complete kind of ending of the old. Now, with the ending of the old, right, comes the ending of, that's a collective thing, right? We're going to have the phasing out of a lot of these old structures, old systems, illusions, distortions, things that we didn't see clearly, but now we do. That's going to be ending the kind of old world, if you will. But with that goes the old individually. That also phases out your old way of being, your old way of doing things, your old ways of thinking, your limiting belief systems, your conditioned patterns and behaviors and programming. So this is both a very collective thing and a very individual thing, right? Because as the new kind of comes in, you can't take anything of the old into the new. So we can't operate the same way that we have before. The things that used to work aren't going to work anymore. The same ways of thinking aren't going to work anymore. The same ways of doing, the same ways of being. So April is a month of this kind of destiny reset. It is the up-leveling of all of us collectively and individually. And with that comes a lot of new everything. And so that can be a shock to the system. But this is what we've been preparing for. So a lot of people have said along the way, right? Us too, right? When are things going to change? When is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? This hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. Why is nothing moving forward? So we have been in a very deep inner preparation for the last few years, right? Like we've heard a lot of people say for years now, right? They're like, oh, you got to prepare yourselves, but they're like, get your batteries and your canned food and your this and your that. As I've said, listen, I love preparation. Preparation is always good. Follow your guidance, do whatever you feel guided to do. But the real preparation has been preparing the inner self. That's the real prep that should have been done. Because as I said, we're waiting. Everyone's been waiting for these external events to happen, saying, when this happens, then I will change, right? I have said this for years. The ego's favorite phrase is, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay. Why doesn't that work? Because what you believe, what you think, what you believe creates your experience. It creates your reality of what you see. So by the time, if you're waiting to see something externally to believe it, I mean, listen, there's no wrong way to do this. There is no right or wrong. I'm going to talk about that. Everybody's path is their own, right? However, when belief systems are cracked open because all of a sudden the external reality changes and it's not matching up to what you believe, that's what we call cognitive dissonance. It's where how you see the world, what you believe through your lens of programming and conditioning and limited thought, when that's not matching up to reality, that creates a crack in the belief systems. And that's a big shock to your consciousness. You can go that path, and that is fine. That is perfect if that is the path that you must take. For the rest of us, that's not how creation works. It's actually the other way around. What you believe, the vision that you hold, the thoughts that you think, the beliefs that you have is what actually manifests. And so for the past couple of years, we've been in kind of this deep dive into ourselves. It wasn't a time for a lot to be changing externally, because remember, we manifest, we all co-create this experience from within. As within, so without. As above, so below. So we have been collectively preparing ourselves internally, doing the inner work, right? Ego death work, emotional regulation, tackling our own fears, our own conditionings, our own limiting beliefs and thought systems, and really building up the new earth from within so that it can manifest without. And so this is the month where that pivot is happening, where we are moving out of, and for some of us, right, this is for many of the first wavers who have done that preparation, who have done that inner work. We are now moving into more of the co-creative phase, right? To begin co-creating the new, to actually step into, right? Now for other waves, the process is going to be different. But collectively, no matter where you're at on the journey, and I want to make this really clear, this is not a competition, and this is not a race. It's not about reaching the finish line first. It's not about being better than or ahead of other people. Everyone is playing a divine role, no matter where you're at on the journey, and no matter what level you're operating at. We are all intricately part of this divine plan. So wherever you are at is perfect. That's where you are designed to be. Even the deep sleepers, that it's perfect because that's where they're designed to be. We are all holding down kind of those different anchor points within the plan, right? But no matter where we are being urged, pushed, and shocked into the next level, into an entirely new level. And so we're all going to feel that. Like I said, for first wavers, it's going to be about stepping into your co-creator role. It's going to be about stepping into your God self and starting to co-create from that space of sovereignty, empowerment, being God with God, walking the path as God with God, leading by example, being the change that you wish to see. That is the level that we are moving into. For other wavers, they could be moving into the space of, they are now maybe moving into the level of actually doing the inner work, doing the self-love, unpacking all the things within. Maybe that is their next level that they haven't been at yet. There are going to be those who are just awakening for the first time, and that is the level that they're working at. It is all perfectly designed. So one of the things that we are going to see is, as I talked about last month, I briefly mentioned that there were 3 stages of first contact, right? And last month was the first phase. So phase 1 is when you come into contact with your higher self. That is what first contact is. Remember, what we are doing is, instead of externalizing everything, everyone's been waiting on some external event, some external thing to happen. It's time to move out of that. We are no longer waiting for anything. We are being it. We are doing it. We are creating it. And so last month was phase 1, which was coming into full contact with our higher selves for the first wavers who were ready to do that, right? And so this is going to actually complete the higher self embodiment around the eclipse, which I will get into next. Now, phase 2 of first contact is when the real decloaking occurs. Again, none of these things are external events. They are internal events that happen first, and then they manifest externally. So phase 2 is the decloaking of your true self. Mom always said that. She said the true decloaking is you decloaking your true self. It is taking off the ego mask that was the false self, the inauthentic self, the programmed self, and showing up authentically, showing up in your full higher self essence, owning your own personal truth and being who you really are. And so that's what we're going to also be moving into, is that decloaking of the true self. And this is also so that we can assist those who are going to then be going through their awakening, right? Because that is what we all signed up for. It's to be the light, to help others find their own light. We're all just helping each other along the path. So it's that time to really step out into being seen, being who you really are, so that you can assist others in finding their light, finding their own God self, right? And through co-creation and through assisting one another, that is phase 2. Phase 3 is when we have first contact with our divine family, our galactic brothers and sisters, Mother and Father God. That is basically the grand reunion, and that occurs when all of humanity has made contact with their higher self, because they can only make contact with the galactics, with Mom and Father, if they are also in their higher self embodiment. So that's the final phase, right? Now, let's talk about kind of the energies leading up to this eclipse, right? So this eclipse will be, the total new moon solar eclipse will be on April 8th. We're going to have the sun and the moon, Mercury, the North Node, and Chiron in Aries. They will all be conjunct each other. That's crazy. Now, Venus will also be in Aries, but she won't be in the mix of the eclipse. She won't be conjunct those planets, but she will also be in Aries. So what is the Aries archetype? Aries is the God self. It is standing in your truth and empowerment of that you are God with God, right? Aries believes in themselves, and they also trust in themselves. You cannot trust in source, in love, in the universe, if you do not trust yourself. So it doesn't work like that. If you don't trust yourself, that means you do not trust love. You do not trust source. So we have to establish, not only we have to really get real clear on who we are and stand in that truth, and we have to trust in that. And that is how we embody the Aries archetype, which is about sovereignty. It is about the God self. Aries has no fear. Aries is like, fear of what, right? Like Aries' motto is kind of like, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? That's the Aries motto. Aries is also about action. It's about inspired action, empowerment, And Aries knows who they are. They know why they're here. They know what their purpose is. They know what their destiny is, and they go for it. They just go for it. There's no hesitation. There's no self-doubt. There's no fear. There's no being afraid of judgment and people's opinions. It's none of that. And so that is what we are stepping into, because that is how we have to move forward. And so under this eclipse, that Aries energy is very much going to be coming in. So it's very much about the higher selves dropping in. It's about the God selves returning to this planet, 144,000, whatever you want to refer to it as. It is us as a humanity remembering who we are, why we're here, and what we are here to do. We are here to reclaim our destiny. We are here to reclaim this planet. We are here to finish this ascension process that we signed up for. So this is a huge event. I know there's a lot of hype for this eclipse, which I'm hyped too. But there's no fear around this event. There's so much fear mongering right now going on about this eclipse. And that is because, obviously, they know how powerful this is going to be. That's why they're turning CERN back on and they're shooting rockets into the eclipse, like just weird stuff. They know how powerful this is going to be. So I also ask that for those of you who are guided to, on the day of the eclipse, if you would like to assist with just placing positive intentions, holding space for the highest outcome for all from this eclipse, as this is going to be a very powerful energy. Prayer, meditation, ceremonies, anything you are guided to do to kind of just assist with the, placing the highest intentions, the highest timeline for this to manifest. Remember, we are co-creating this experience. So we kind of want to override a lot of this fear and just negativity. We don't need that. It's not necessary. We want the highest timeline, the best outcome for all, and we want to step in to this new phase, right? So this eclipse is giving event energy. To me, from my personal guidance, this is the event. And now again, I just want to reiterate that the event is not external, right? There's been years of people waiting for some external event like Nasara, the EBS, the solar flash. Stop waiting. Start being. Start being and start creating. The event is an internal event. Mom would always say that the event is the full embodiment. It is the aha moment and the clicking of, oh, I remember who I am. I remember where I come from. I remember what I'm here to do. That is the event. So I believe this eclipse is bringing that event energy. And so it is about anchoring that in, surrendering to the higher self. It is the final kind of override of, because again, as the old phases away, we have to be honest with ourselves and own the parts of us, those ego parts of us that are still holding on to the old, that are afraid to step into the God self, that are afraid of our own empowerment. And where we still are playing small, where we're still playing the victim, where we're still in fear, where we're still waiting for something external to happen, where we're still waiting for a savior. It's not going to happen because that wasn't the point of coming here, right? And so as that kind of dawns on us, that is when we get to decloak our true selves. It's when we get to live in our own authentic truth and do what we came here to do and claim our destiny. And again, assisting with this will lead to eventually, who knows how long it takes, but the mass awakening, the great remembering is underway. So this is the month of the event. Now, this eclipse will also be happening in Gene Key 51, which is known as the Gate of Shock. So if you have this gene key, that could be especially kind of potent for you. I do have this gene key in my profile. It is the gate of shock. And the shadow of Gene Key 51 is agitation. And Richard Rudd talks about it's the agitation of fear. Fear is the frequency that is just, it's a cellular thing. It's always in the background. We're always feeling it, right? And so with fear, we either react to life or we hide away from it. It's like one of those two. And ultimately, fear keeps us out of trusting. It prevents us from taking those leaps of faith. It prevents us from trusting. It prevents us from having courage. And so it's known as the gate of shock, because this gene key talks about you have to be shocked into change. You have to be shocked into awakening. That's just the name of the game. And so the Siddhi of this gene key is awakening. And so this will be really interesting to see, right, how this plays out. And sometimes the shock of the new is challenging. And so I also wanted to share that for those of you, we're all in this unfoldment process. And so I also just wanted to share all of your higher selves have intricately designed a plan for you. Over the last couple of years, as we've been going through a lot of healing, inner work, dealing with our inner emotions, limiting beliefs, limiting thoughts, challenges, wounds, conditioning, all of it. Our higher selves have been observing us, have been working together with the galactics, with Mother and Father, on creating what is ultimately the divine plan for all. But the way that the overall divine plan works is that each of us, our higher selves, has designed a divine plan for us to get us to the next level, to get us to our full awakening, to get us to our full embodiment so that we can get on with what we came here to do. So if things are happening in your life over the next couple of weeks, month, and you're like, why is this happening? Like, I thought I did the inner work. I thought I was doing everything right. You have done nothing incorrectly. There are no mistakes. Whatever is happening in your experience is being orchestrated by your higher self. Your higher self knows your ego inside and out. That was part of the research Mom gained when she was in carnation. How the ego was functioning, how it was operating. They have all the research. Your higher self knows exactly where you need to be pushed, shocked, and urged into change, into the next level for evolution. So if things are happening in your experience and you're like, why is this happening? It is your higher self. The best thing to do is to surrender. Surrender and ask your higher self. Talk to your higher self. Talk to your angel teams, right? Ask for guidance. Follow that inner compass. We are all divinely protected. We are all looked out for. We are all taken care of. Sometimes it doesn't seem like that, but we are. So this is a big month where we've graduated. We've graduated from the previous level. Congratulations. Now kind of the shock of the new level is what is hitting us, but we are prepared. Nothing that is going to come your way, nothing you're going to experience it's all for you. And it's ultimately for you just to remember who you are. And so I also wanted to share that the message did come through last month that the work that we have been doing for the past 13 months in the etheric surgery seminars and the angel chip seminars is complete. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for those who did that work with me over the last 13 months. We did it. The lower chips were dissolved. The dormant DNA was activated. It's all done. So we may revisit those at a later time, but for right now, those are being put on hold. Because this month, as we talked about in the conference, we're moving into new roles and new levels. And so the guidance now is moving forward over the next few months. We're just going to be focusing on hosting classes and workshops for for those of you who want to learn more, you are ready to learn more, advance your own skills, step more into your higher self embodiment, as well as training on the various roles that many of you may be stepping into. So we're going to be focusing on that, master classes, workshops, for those who are ready to go through that advancement to the next levels. And we're going to be covering all different types of topics, all different types of roles, and the training for them. So this month we're going to start out with some of the basic foundational type of master classes just to get started, and then May and June we've got some exciting stuff planned which we'll talk about. But for those of you who are guided, these are the classes for April that we will be hosting. So on April 19th we'll be hosting an Etheric Connections masterclass. This is for those who really want to learn and train on how to establish their etheric connection. It is imperative because as the world goes through the upheaval and the transition, you cannot rely on outside information for how you make decisions, for which way to go, what to do. It all has to come from within. You are God too. It has to come from within. You have to trust yourself. You also have to trust your angel teams. So this is going to be a class where we're going to go in depth on just the tools, the techniques, the wisdoms, the teachings, that we have all been trained on, of how to open up that clear connection, and basically how to use discernment as well in receiving guidance and information, connecting with your higher self for those that are working on that connection to get to that embodiment, connecting with your angel teams, connecting with the galactics if that is something you are called to do as a role. There are galactic ambassador roles where you could be someone who part of your mission is to kind of receive and transmit information back and forth. So to receive guidance, wisdom, information, all of that, this is going to kind of be essential for the next phase because we have to start trusting that inner compass and be able to utilize it and navigate it. So that's going to be on April 19th. On April 22nd, we're going to be doing a grid working masterclass. This is for those who feel called to assist in this next phase, and if that is a role you feel guided to, it's a very important role. So this is going to be those who are ready to assist with kind of clearings and activations and anchoring of both physical and energetic grids. Grids are simply the blueprint for which things manifest onto. Okay, the grids, physical or energetic, provide the foundation and the blueprint for which New Earth manifests into. So working with the grids is a huge role for the divine plan for those that are guided to that. So it's about assisting Mother Earth through her transition. So this is about helping to clear physical grids, earthly grids such as sacred sites, ley lines, oceanic grids, etc., to basically help clear density. Because Mother Earth has to release her density as well as she goes through this process, as well as energetic grids. Energetic grids are the blueprint for how New Earth manifests, so we'll be talking about how to work with energetic grids as well. And so if you're guided to that, we're going to do that on April 22nd, and the final class for this month is going to be on April 29th. This is going to be a vibrational alchemy masterclass. To be able to master your vibrational state, regulate your emotional and mental bodies, and learning how to transmute energy and transform energy is honestly essential for any role that you have within the divine plan, no matter what it is. It is essential. Because if we do not know how to master our vibrational state, what happens is we will easily absorb the vibration from the collective, which is often fear, or the energy of those around you, and it basically clouds your own intuition. It clouds your discernment. And then you end up kind of getting into that stage of feeling stuck, feeling confused, feeling overwhelmed. So this is going to be about understanding the vibrational scale, how to actually master your vibrational health, because vibration is everything. Health and wellness on the physical, emotional, and mental level all stem from vibrational wellness. So we want to keep ourselves also balanced, healthy, and well throughout this process. Regulating your emotional and mental bodies. Lord knows that most of humanity does not know how to regulate. They are so unregulated that they live in a constant state of either suppression or reaction. Again, that's going to always take you out of center. So we're going to talk about that, and also how to actually transmute and transform energy. So how to alchemize all of these things so you can best be of service to yourself, to others, utilize your gifts and skills to the highest potential. So that's going to be the classes we cover in April. Again, we wanted to start with some of just the foundational stuff, and then in May and June we'll be moving into some other kind of very cool things that we have planned, which might be a little bit more in depth for just various roles, energy work, that type of thing. So this is a super exciting month. It is a pivotal month, and it's really entering the unknown. And so just remember that everything that happens is divinely planned for you. It is not happening to you, it is happening for you. Trust in yourself. Trust yourself, trust in source, and simply surrender. And remember who you are. Be who you are. Allow yourself to rip off any of the kind of false mask projections other people have placed on you, conditionings, and just be who you were created to be. You're all brilliant. You're all God with God. And it's time to just be it, walk it, live it. And so this is an exciting time. I think it'll be a fun time. Again, maybe there's a little chaos, but every great change is preceded by chaos. Of course, I'll also be putting out the Unity Consciousness Project intentions every Saturday. So thank you as well for those of you who have been participating in that. It's been amazing. I post them every Saturday, so you can always check our website or our Telegram channels, of course, to get those updates if you are guided to help participate in those. They are Unity intentions that we place every Sunday to just assist with the collective, to assist humanity, assist with the unfoldment of these events. And of course, we are having our Unity Consciousness radio parties every month. This has also been awesome. So it's every portal, new moon, and full moon. So the first radio party will of course be on the 4/4 portal. The second one will be on the eclipse. On April 8th, that is the new moon total solar eclipse. And then the last radio party will be on April 23rd, which is the full moon in Scorpio. So happy April, everybody. I love you guys, and I'll be back soon.